I'm going to remove the starter motor, which is this big lump, and the reason why I do it is to be able to clean the engine block and the flywheel housing properly, and also because I am going to replace this oil tube that comes down here and connects into the engine block underneath the starter motor. So that has to be replaced due to corrosion. So yeah, let's do this. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen the lower bolt. The lower bolt on my boat is also the one that the negative battery lead is connected to. So that's okay, because I'm going to reroute the main battery cables, because I don't want to keep the batteries the same place that they used to be. So put the nut aside and undo the upper one. And that was a lot more stuck. So you cannot see the top of this. Yeah, here we have a classic situation. The bolt is a bit stuck. I can't move it with the spanner. I hook on another spanner onto this one, and I get a longer arm, so I get more force on the bolt. That's a good trick, but beware. It's kind of wiggly and unstable when you do this, so when you need to put a lot of force on it, it's likely that they split apart, and that hurts. So here is the starter motor. It's a big heavy lump. So 1.8 kilowatts. So that's quite a powerful one for such a small engine. I'd already disconnected the cables because I removed the alternator, and it was easier to remove the cables from the starter motor than from the alternator, so I just took the wire harness off with the alternator. And now we can see the big ugly truth underneath the starter motor. So yeah, there's a bit of corrosion going on here as well. It's not too bad, but I'm glad I took it off. So, as you can see, there's a lot of gunk down here. So if I take the screwdriver and just chip away at it a little bit, so we get to see what's really hiding underneath there. So it's gonna be all good. I think this is gonna be much of a problem, but it needs to be cleaned out. It's easier to do it now before I start to use the boat than later on. Now the boat is not in use. It's waiting to pull out of the water so I can reseal the sail drive. So in the meantime, I try to do as much as I can. So when it's up on land, I'm going to reseal the sail drive and put new rubber diaphragms on it. So, camera complains, battery is low, so I need to attend to that. So, we are replacing this oil tube here. That is stopping it. This is the last point on the tube, in front of the diesel filter. We move around the diesel filter, and we find the next connection point behind here, and then it runs over the diesel lift pump. You can see here is a bit of corrosion. That's a result of the dripping from the exhaust elbow, but the real corrosion is up here at this point. And the banjo, this banjo bolt here, that's the one I've ordered new, so that's going to be replaced. Tube runs behind the engine and down on this side and behind where the starter motor sits. This is partially why we took off the starter motor. And this is the last connection, or the first connection. This is where the oil enters the tube, and this is main. I would really wish I ordered this bolt as well, but I guess the bolt is perfect on all the surfaces. That's really important, so I will try and clean it up. If it's too bad, I will order a new one, but I have to wait a while before it gets here, so I hope I don't have to. Yeah, so that's the situation. So yeah, it's time to remove the tube. Starting with the first bolt that I showed you. Also 14mm head on this one. So taking it out. Some oil is going to spill out. And I'm going to try not to lose the washer. It seems like it's stuck on the engine. So I wipe off the rest of the oil from the bolt. And as you can see, it has the washer. This is probably the original one because it has paint on it still. So yeah, this one. And I'm gonna try and loosen it. No, it's really stuck, so we'll leave it there. The washer is stuck on the engine, so I will just leave it there. Next one is behind here. You can't see it, but it is here, I promise. So it's a bit stiff. Probably some force from the tube that's pushing on it. It's not very stiff, but I couldn't turn it with my fingers in the beginning. But here we go. That is the last, or the next one. Again, wipe off the oil. That's just so when I put the screw down, it's not going to make a mess. So it's just to keep it a bit less messy. Here is the third delivery banjo connection. the bolt. No, it looks really crusty on the outside, but it's perfect when you get the gasket off. Even though I ordered a new one of these, but I could reuse this without any issues. The last of the banjo connection is a 17mm head on it, or has a 17mm head on it. So I'm just cracking this one loose like this. It's time to undo it. And this one is going to have a big hole in it because this delivers oil, and the other ones are the restrictors. Here is the bolt. As you can see, if I clean it up, I'm going to be able to reuse it, because the gasket surface, it's a circle that goes around here, is in rather good shape. There's a little bit of corrosion creeping into it at this point, but if I clean it up and paint it, it's going to be okay. You have to undo clamping bracket back here. I'm going to move the camera back again. So then we have to undo this bolt. It's a 12mm head on this one, and I just use this little tiny socket wrench. I didn't think it was going to be that stuck, but it was. But it came off in the end. So just like that, the oil tubing is out. So this bracket, I guess I have to move over, but the rest is going to be, I don't know if I'm going to keep it as an emergency spare part. You never know what happens when you're out cruising, but it takes a lot of space, so it's not a good spare part to keep. But we will see. So next thing I want to do, I want to get these washers off, the ones that are left on the engine, and just clean them and put the bolts back in. So this is the corroded one that was sitting here before, in the same hole that it came out of. And these are the other two, so I will just get off the washers on these as well. I have new washers, so like that. So I'm just cleaning them off, putting them onto the bolt. I don't know if you can see it, but this little hole here, that is the hole that all the lubrication oil gets out of. So it's not a big hole, it's just a tiny bit. That is going to lubricate a small bearing for the camshaft, I guess. So and it's the last one. These are not glued or anything, they're just stuck because they've been squeezed on there so long. Ah, stupid me. Here it is, back on its original bolt. And the bolt is back in its original hole. And here is the large one. See, this one has a normal opening, like you usually find in a banjo connection, with opening on both sides as well. So, but this is just delivering as much oil as it can, and the other ones is holding it back to maintain the pressure. So yeah, that's how it works. So it's a fairly important part to keep in good order. And here is the washer that was left on the engine side for the oil inlet to the pipe. So we're just gonna put it onto the bolt. Put the bolt back where it belongs. So, yeah. Now I can continue with a fantastically interesting procedure of removing corrosion and prepare the engine for paint. That is so boring, but it has to be done or it's gonna continue to rust. So let's make it look good. Yeah, so I'm gonna get working on that, and I guess I will give you an update later on. Thank you for watching.